11 years ago, 45 miles west of Chicago, near where we live, my daughter Heather, who was 12 at the time, our youngest, and I were traveling along a country road, had the right of way through a one-way work zone, and were hit head on by a speeding semi-truck. It was a gravel truck. It was a miracle we were alive. Heather was rushed to the hospital first. She had bruises and lacerations on her internal organs. She was in critical condition, in and out of the hospital for several years. Her face had been decimated by the glass. She had over 400 stitches in her face. I was rushed to the hospital with crushed hips. They told my wife there was a 50-50 chance I'd be paralyzed. And that was only if the worst case scenario did not take place, but it did. So halfway through the surgery, they warned her to be prepared for me to be paralyzed. But God had other plans. And halfway through the following summer, I was able to get up out of the wheelchair and off of the crutches and back into full-time ministry again. You know, that was something, laying there recovering for the months that we had no idea that God would bring us back into full-time ministry, which is what we had known since the beginning of our marriage. You know, the people, God's people began to pray. My wife called their prayer chain as soon as she heard, and they began to pray. They flooded the hospital. The peace of God followed those prayers, and the healing power of God followed those prayers. Heather had glass go through the cornea of her eye. Nobody did any surgery, but 3 days later, the ophthalmologist said, this girl no human hand has touched her eye, but the surgery is being completed perfectly, not by a human hand. Many other things happened. Her face, the 400 stitches in her face, God just miraculously has healed her. She's had no plastic surgery. And you'll see, we've got an album she's got a couple of albums out there, and her face is beautiful. It's amazing what God has done. Her tongue was nearly completely severed in the back. Now, she's a worship leader, she's a songwriter, she's a beautiful singer, and the doctors said, you know, it might be years before she's able to speak normally with a lot of speech therapy. They were thankful to get it reattached correctly. But within 1 week, she was singing perfectly. And God is to be praised. We are so grateful for all that He has done. I really wish I could tell you more about all the miracles, because there are more. But God has just, the miracle of His presence was what sustained us. And we began to dream about doing an album together, just the two of us, if we got back into ministry again. And when we were able to complete that album, a couple of years later, because God had become so precious to us, taught us so much, and come so close, when we were able to complete the album, we simply called it Closer. And I am going to have Heather join me this morning on tape, okay? And she's going to sing for you a song off of that album.
Cease to